Hello, you guys. Today I'm going to be talking about marriage. I am a single woman. I am married to the Lord, and God is a husband to us. And we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk more about that later on. But I am a single woman, but I do feel God directed me to talk about this subject, and I want to share with you guys what I feel God is directing me to share with you guys. So I'm going to start off with the book of a verse from the book of Genesis. Right now I'm doing a study in Genesis, and I feel God's been showing me a lot about marriage throughout the book of Genesis. So I'm going to start off. So a little bit of backstory. The story's about Joseph. This is when before Joseph went to prison, right? So the verse reads, "Neither hath he kept back anything from me but thee, because thou art his wife." And that is Genesis 39:9. So Pharaoh's wife was trying to get Joseph to lay with her, and what stood out to me, so what I liked about this verse was it just shows how serious marriage is, right? Because he said he has kept, and he has neither hath he kept anything back from me but thee, because thou art his wife. So that just shows us how serious marriage is. And I want to give the definition I feel like God gave me for marriage, and it was a serious covenant between two people and God. And and when I think about marriage, I always think about me and God's relationship, because God is my, God is a husband to us, and I feel like it shows me, it teaches me a lot about submission and sacrifice. And I feel God is teaching me more about marriage. He's showing me more about marriage now, and I want to share with you guys what he has shown me. I feel he has directed me to share with you guys. So I'm going to start off with one of the verses in the Bible that goes over God. One of the verses in the Bible about God being our husband. And it reads, "For your maker is your husband, the Lord of hosts is his name, and the Holy One of Israel is your Redeemer. The God of the whole earth he is called." And that is Isaiah 54:5. And if you ever want to look up a verse in the Bible, or a verse is there, you just can't remember what it is, what I like to do is I'll use Google. So for example, I'll Google Bible verses about whatever that subject is, and that really helps me. So for this one, I looked up, I went to the website that I was on, I looked up Bible verses about God being our husband, and I went to the website openbible.info, and it gave a bunch of verses about God being our husband. So I recommend you guys to go look at those. But so back to God being our husband. So God has taught me, like I said, God has taught me a lot about marriage, with our relationship, because he's a husband to us, right? And God can be your husband. God can be your husband. Going back to the definition that God gave me for marriage, which was marriage is a serious covenant between two people and God. And marriage is very serious, right? We can see this with God throughout the whole Bible. And God is a husband to us all throughout the Bible. So we see this when he married the Israelites, right? And I want to share some verses about that. We know that God married Israel, and he calls them, he said that he was one of the verses is, "Not like the covenant that I made with their fathers on the day when I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt. My covenant that they broke, though I was their husband, declares the Lord." And the next verse that reads, "Adulterous wife, you who receives strangers instead of her husband." Right? And so we know that throughout, so it shows us that God is a husband to us, right? I feel like what God was showing me in his word was the relationship of marriage within his word, right? The relationship that literally the Bible, he's married, it's all it's a marriage, right? So when I say that, I mean God married the Israelites. So throughout the whole scripture, God, that relationship that God had, that God made with the Israelites was a marriage, right? But we know Israel was not a good wife, right? But we see in that relationship, I'm trying to find the words to put it in, you guys. I hope this is making sense, and please take this back to God in prayer. But that relationship, all throughout, God is a husband, it's a covenant relationship. So when we want to look at marriage, we can look at how God's marriage to us, right? How he sees, if we want to look at marriage, we can look at God's marriage to us, and how serious he takes it, and how God, the marriage that he has with us. We know he married the Israelites, right? And all these things that he did for them. I know marriage is deeper than providing, but if we want to look at marriage, we should look at God's marriage to us, because throughout the whole Bible, he was married. God married. It was a marriage, right? He called them that was his wife, right? And so it's just, take us to God in prayer. But that's so, I feel like it's just like I'm still learning it with God. I'm still learning it with Him. But we know that Israel was not a good wife, but we do know that God does. God is going to come back and redeem Israel. And I want to read a Bible verse about that in the book of Hosea. I don't know if I'm reading that correctly. So Hosea chapter 2 verse 21, and it reads, "In that day declares the Lord, you will call me my husband. You will no longer call me my master." And that is I just feel like God directed me to show that, because you know that it talks about how God is going to redeem Israel, and God was also directing me to talk about verses, directing me to verses to write down about how God is going to redeem Israel. The prophecy is going to come to pass of Him redeeming Israel back to Himself. Israel will never cease to be a nation before Him, you know, and how that is true. You know what I mean? So I know like Israel goes through a lot of things, but we know that, but hearing that, like, you know, just that knowing that prophecy is going to stand, right? So yes, you guys, so I know this had kind of a lot of information in there, but just know that when we look at marriage, that we can look at how God's marriage to us throughout the whole Bible. God, it was a covenant relationship. God called Israel Israel his wife, right? So when we look at marriage, we have to look at that, because like we're looking at how to like have a good marriage. That's the perfect example, because that's a perfect example of how God was God was a husband to Israel, and looking out, studying and going to prayer with that with God. I know it's a lot of information in here, but I feel like I wanted to speak what I feel God was directing me to speak about. And yes, you guys, so you know, I feel like He was directing me like a lot about marriage, and also a lot about Israel and how He's going to redeem them, how it's going to be the prophecy that he spoke. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I thank you guys. God bless you guys. I hope it's been a lot of sense. Please take it to God in prayer, and let me know if you have any questions. I'm open to answer. But thank you guys.